The other night during my live Q&A, someone asked a question that I should have been able to answer more quickly than I did. And the question was, what is your favorite piece of gear? I have an answer for that, and that answer has not changed in a very long time. And I'm going to answer that for you guys here in just a moment. But before I do, allow me to introduce myself. Hey everyone, my name is Doug. I run a company in Orem, Utah called Doug Johnson Productions. We do live event video production, so things like business conferences, concerts, sporting events, those sorts of things. So, what is my favorite piece of gear? One moment and I'll bring one out. Here we go. This is just one in many of a whole class of device, and that class of device is video routing switcher. So this particular one is from Blackmagic Design. It's the Smart Video Hub 40x40 6 gig SDI version. So the answer to the question is video routing switcher. Now, I know some of you out there have never used one, so let me take a few minutes to explain the benefits and why this is my favorite piece of gear. And of all the stuff that I have, this is the thing that I like the most. So basically, a video routing switcher allows you to take sources from any number of from some number of inputs to some number of outputs, and you can do that in any combination. So if you want to take video signal number 1 and send it to outputs 1 through 20, you can do that. You can send it to all 40. However you want to do that, you have complete flexibility in the way that works, and this allows you to do some pretty cool things. So I know some of you are thinking, well, if it just sends signals from one location to another, can't I just do that by patching cables? Well, in a lot of cases, yes, you can. However, there's a lot of reasons that you might want to do a video routing switcher instead. So I'll go over some of those, and you guys can decide for yourselves. So first of all, a big advantage is you're able to reroute signals without having to manipulate any cables. So BNC connectors can be a little bit difficult to deal with, especially when they're high density close to one another. So having a routing switcher allows you to send signals from any location to any other location without having to manipulate any cables. So in order to make a configuration change, you basically just manipulate either the front panel of the device, or you go to a computer and manipulate software or tablet and use an app there in order to reroute the signals. You can't do that with cables. So being able to reroute the signals remotely is a huge advantage that you don't get if you're doing your routing using cables. So the other thing you can do with that is when things get a little bit complicated. So if you got a signal maybe coming from a camera that needs to go to a recorder, that needs to go to some sort of video processor before it goes to the switcher, you've got a long chain of things there. When you start to deal with things like that with actual cables, things get pretty complicated. You start to have a real mess of cables. With the routing switcher, you just manipulate everything by pressing buttons on the front panel. So you don't have to mess with all those cables. It makes things quite a bit simpler, quite a bit faster, much faster workflow. The other thing you can do with with a routing switcher like this is, because any input can go to any number of outputs, this can also act as a distribution amplifier. So if you guys have ever worked in an environment where you need to send, say, your program feed to a dozen monitors in a particular location, you know that can be kind of a pain in the neck. You have to deal with distribution amplifiers. It's just not pretty. Some devices have loop through routes, so you can send the signal from one device to the next device to the next device to the next device. Well, what do you do when one of those devices gets shut off, or one of them decides to stop working for some reason? All of a sudden, your signal chain is dead. So everything down the chain from your device, which is no longer functioning, is also dead. So it's kind of a problem. These, because of the way they work, allow you to send one signal to multiple locations. So you run separate feeds to each monitor, and if one goes dead, it's not going to impact all the others. So very cool there. And you don't have to do it with a separate distribution amplifier. The other thing you can do in a particular case like that, say somebody says, hey, I want to turn one of those monitors around for the presenter so they can see their presentation. In order to rewrite the signal, change what signal they're getting, it's just basically go to the front panel, press a few buttons, and all of a sudden they're seeing the graphic instead of the program feed. Very, very handy for being able to make changes like that on the fly. Another thing that a lot of routing switchers do, this one does not, but it's very common, is being able to set up presets. Say for example, you work in the same venues over and over again, and each venue has a particular configuration that you like. You can go into the software, save a preset, and then the next time you come back to that location, you just load the preset, and then all your routing all your signals, goes back to the way it was previously. So that can save a lot of time during setup. It's very, very handy to have that as well. And one thing that this one has that a lot of others don't is this on-screen monitor, which is more handy than you might think. So first of all, yes, it does let you see how your signals are routed. And because this has an interface on the computer where you can actually set names for your sources and your destinations, you can see at the bottom of the screen by name where the signal is coming from and where it's going to. So it makes it very easy to troubleshoot and figure out if signals are going exactly where you expect them to. The other nice thing is up top, and you won't be able to read this on the video on camera. This actually a very bright display, and can't quite keep up with the lights here. But that top row is actually showing the video format. So if you were to look at this here in person, it would say 2160p 2997, which is basically letting you know the signal that it's getting is Ultra HD at 29.97. Frames per second, which helps you to know if you're getting exactly the signals that you expect to get. And if you're going into a switcher that's very picky about the signal formats that you're using, this can help to troubleshoot that quite a bit. So very, very handy with that feature as well. It also, of course, lets you see the video signal. And these smart video hubs from Blackmagic actually do have pretty nice LCD screens on it. I know it looks blown out on camera, but it's actually a very nice screen in person. Very accurate colors, good brightness levels, good viewing angles even. So very handy when just trying to make sure that you're sending the right signal to the right location, that everything's working exactly the way that you expect it to. So I've been using video routing switchers for probably close to 20 years. My first one was just a simple 8x8 standard def analog signal. Eventually, when I was working with standard def, I did work up to a 64x64. Absolutely loved it. And then as I've built out my high def and Ultra HD arsenals, I've made sure to include these in everything I've done. So even when I was working out of a single rack, I always made sure that I've had a video routing switcher. They've totally changed the way that I do video production. And I think if you haven't used one, you ought to give one a try and see if it changes yours as well. So. For those of you who may be thinking of purchasing one, I'd appreciate using one of the affiliate links in the description down below. That would help the channel out quite a bit. If you guys have any questions about these, please let me know in the description down below. I'll try to answer those as best I can. So I do have one additional question for you guys. So what is your favorite piece of gear and why? And also, if you have not used a video routing switcher, please share in the comments why not. I think if you give them a chance, it'll totally change your outlook about video production as well. So if you guys have other questions or comments about anything that's related to video production, you can leave those down in the comment section down below, or go to my website. The website is djprod.biz, and click on the Contact Us link down there at the bottom of the page. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I try to release new videos about once a week about video production related topics. If there's a specific topic you want me to discuss, please let me know. I'll try and do my best to include it as part of the upcoming videos. So, thanks everyone for watching, and have a fantastic day.